This lesson is about arrays, and an array is nothing more than a large data storage, where a single variable stores a single value, so an array will store multiple values. If this is our array called rnum, then we would be able to store in the array called rnum a number in each of these positions. Think of these positions as a pigeonhole box or a set of rooms in a hotel. Each of the rooms or each of the pigeonholes needs to be numbered, and in our case we are going to number the first one as number 1 and the second one as 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. All of these values are stored in the array called rnum. The value stored in this position is referred to as the name of the array, rnum, square brackets, and then the index, the position of that specific cell in the array, 1. So for instance, we can store a number of different values in each of these cell positions. So let's make it 200, 400, 600 and 1000. So in rnum position 1 I have the value of 200. In rnum position 3 I have the value of 600. Let's look at how this works in Delphi. I have already prepared the program that I'm going to use to demonstrate arrays. You can see that it has a button and a rich edit on the screen. We are going to declare these initial arrays in our button as local variables, and here I've declared a number of them already. In the first line I've created a variable called rnum, and it is an array of type integer, and it has exactly 10 spaces or 10 positions inside this array. So thinking back to the picture we drew recently, our array rnum now is declared as having 10 rooms or 10 spaces here, so there should be another 6, and we refer to the first room as the room number 1, and it can have some sort of contents, some integer stored in there. The last room will be referred to as room number 10. Look at the second array, rwords. Rwords is declared as an array, and its first position is called number 10, and its last position is called number 51, and inside each of those positions we can only store strings. Salaries is also an array, but its first position is called -2, its last position is called 75, and it can store only real numbers. Look at homeroom. It is an array, and its first position is called A, capital A, and its last position is called capital E, and each of those positions can store only a character. If we look at this image of an array, then these values will be the index of the array, and those values are the array elements. So the element of rnum with an index of 3 is 600, and the element of rnum with index 4 is 1000. As you can see, declaring arrays creates a complex data type, and the problem with complex data types is that they may not be used as parameters, and we can't send them to or receive them back from functions. So we'll have to change this complex data type into a more simple or user-defined data type, and we will do that in our main program as a global declaration. So let's scroll up, and you can see that above the var, which declares global variables, and below the first type that has been declared in this program, we are going to create another type, and this type will be trnum, type rnum, and it will be an array type which has 10 elements of type integer. Now we've simplified our array from a complex data type to a simple data type called trnum. This is now a new data type, the same as we've used in our classes that we've created so far. So we have a new data type called trnum, and it will be an array with 10 elements, and each of those elements will be an integer. Now we can go back to our button, and in the button, instead of declaring our local variables of the array data type from scratch, we will now declare them as being from the declared type. I've used the same variable name, But now, instead of declaring this as array1 dot dot 10 of integer, I've used the previously declared data type of trnum. And let's have a look again at what it looks like. Trnum is now declared as a type of arrays with 10 positions, and each of them can store an integer. You should now go and declare new data types so that you can redeclare R words, R salaries, and R homeroom as a simple data type which you've created up at the top of your program.